Is this how long-life species live? Everything proceeds so slowly. The effectiveness of anticipation in my emotional center is at an all-time high.
Relax. The Realm Keeping Commission will send boarding notices to all ticket holders. The Gazette said the Sky Splitter will fire a salute before the ceremony starts.
I saw the schedule for the first day of the tournament. Can you believe the Ringmaster accepted 4 challenges? And he's just a kid. So
I'm betting on neither. I lost all my credits betting on Roboball games in Taikian. This time, I've decided not to rely on probability games to accomplish my target.
War dance. There you are. I heard you and Mr. Dan Heng went to meet the judges, and then a riot broke out in the shackling prison. Yeah, I heard them too. But I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint them. I've already reported... The security of the Luofu is more important to me than anything else. I need to fulfill my duties as a Cloud Knight Lieutenant. Those tourists just want to see some good sword fights. Anyone can participate in this kind of tournament. The real challenge lies beyond the ring on the Sky Splitter. If we don't capture... Obviously, there's someone behind the scenes orchestrating this prison break, intending to spread chaos. If we
Well said. You may be tiny in stature, but your ambition matches that of the Yao Qing's warriors.
Hey, this has nothing to do with my height.
Yes, I suggested to Yanqing that we find a place to have a decent meal. A hunter must be well fed before the hunt.
You still have a good appetite, even in the face of disaster. You truly are the Merlin's Claw.
Well, that's not up to me. Dig in. I called you here so you could enjoy the...
Me? This isn't the time for a leisurely meal.
Oh. You'd give me time to enjoy a meal, but not yourself? Ever since you encountered those Borison spies, you've been so busy that you've hardly eaten anything. You can't defeat Hule on an empty stomach. Take your time. Enjoy the meal and calm yourself.
Hule's whereabouts are still unknown, and they've even taken Mr. Zhao Cho hostage. The longer we wait, the more complicated the situation becomes.
Zhao Cho always said I'm the most impatient person among the Cloud Knights, and I can't argue with that. So, I've fought against Borison abominations for years, and I know that when facing cunning and ferocious prey, the hunter must be more patient, biding their time to seize the golden chance for a decisive blow.
But when will that...
Like I said, it's only one meal away.
General Hua Yan, the Skyfaring Commission has finished its preparations.
Representing the consensus between the Merlin's Claw and the Divine Foresight, I'll step in as the temporary commanding officer of the seat of Divine Foresight.
What is the situation at the shackling?
Hule made a quick escape and even sealed the gates of the prison. And the good news is the 2 nameless who were trapped in the shackling prison are safe and sound.
I know I shouldn't use the word great given the current situation.
We've lost contact with one of the messengers from the Xianzhou Yaoqing. Don't worry, Yuko. Fei Shao is leading the wolf hunt operation, and you know...
I have no doubt about General Fei Shao's capabilities, General Hua Yan. I'm more concerned about the war. According to the plan, the ceremony will begin in 6 hours. The Sky Splitter will be activated, but now, with Hule's whereabouts unknown.
March is right, Grandpa. I heard the escaped prisoner from the shackling prison is beyond...
So, Yun Li, what do you...
Well... I believe we should declare martial law. And
Your plan sounds solid, but unfortunately The first are the many travelers who have come all the way here for the war dance. If we declare martial law now, it's like declaring that the Luofu isn't safe. The second party is the staff of the Xianzhou Luofu's 6 commissions. They've invested a lot of resources and manpower into, but of course, not everyone. The mastermind behind this incident would fully support your opinion. Hule's escape and your discovery of Borisin's spies at Stargazer Navalia. Even a child could get... The fugitive is just one piece in the game. The one controlling the pieces wants to spread chaos and suspicion among the people on the Luofu. If we declare martial law and postpone the war... We'll search for the prisoners while maintaining order on the Luofu.
As if nothing has happened. Yan Qing said he'd assist the generals, and now he's nowhere to be found.
That's why I called the two of you here.
General Huaiyan.
You caught on quickly, Miss March.
But Miss March is a guest invited by General Jing Yuan, Grandpa.
Dear child, the nameless of the Astral Express are renowned throughout the cosmos. It's an honor to have them participate in the ceremony. We can't afford to have any problems during the war dance. I'm entrusting you not only with the honor of the... Yukong, please explain to them the rest of it.
I am sorry for our improper management, and I truly appreciate your assistance.
There is no need to apologize. We Cloud Knights fight on the battlefield while you judges punish the criminals. We are two sides of the same Xianzhou Luofu, and it is my honor to serve the 10 Lords. I've grasped the situation of the prison break. Now tell me more about the current state of the shackling prison.
Borisin infiltrated the prison in disguise and released the prisoners, spreading chaos. Among the judges on duty in the 4 divisions, Judge Shui from the detention division was killed and is temporarily unavailable. So, I'm taking over her duties and commanding Arumaton spectral envoys and spiritfarers to...
I and the 2 behind me will go deeper into the prison to investigate.
General, the situation inside is still chaos.
It's common for Cloud Knight generals to face danger directly. Hule has escaped, and the Yaoqing envoy is being held hostage by the Borisin. His fate is unknown. Not only did the Merlin's Claw offer no reproach, she decided to go after Hule herself to prevent further calamity. I believe the Luofu owes her something in return for her... How did the infiltrators learn about the location where Hule was held? And how did they time their plan just before the Yaoqing messengers were ready to escort him? Finding the answer to these questions shouldn't be too difficult. What truly matters is if we can gather the clues that lead us to the mastermind behind all of this.
I understand, but I'm afraid it won't be an easy task.
For a long time, this hidden force has been pursuing their own goals and undermining the security of the Luofu. Backing down now will only encourage them to further endanger the peace here.
The 10 Lords Commission will support your decision with everything we have.
Dan Heng and Ling Sha. I'll need both of you to accompany me on this challenging journey.
Well, it's part of my responsibilities as the Cauldron Master.
Let's start with those Borisin disguised as fox.
My people have already prepared the evidence. Until everything burns to ashes!
You know nothing of the survive or be destroyed. There is no other choice.
Fight to live!
Target sighted. Oh,
Set the seas ablaze!
I weep for the departed. It too shall fall.
let's begin. Good.
This is more fight to live! Firefly type set to the seas ablaze! Fight to live! This is more set to the seas ablaze! Fight to live!
I weep for the departed. It too shall fall.
Firefly type set to the seas ablaze! Until everything burns to ashes! I shall set the seas ablaze! Fight to live!
Target sighted. Oh,
Set the seas ablaze!
I weep for the departed. It too shall fall.
leave it to me. Good. You know nothing. Survive or be destroyed. There is no other choice.
This is more fight to live! According to Lieutenant Yenqing's report, he stumbled upon a few suspicious Foxians at Stargazer Navalia. After following them, he
Looking at him now, it's hard to imagine how he
My alchemists detected some complex ingredients in his remains. Which, simply put, Foxians and Borson share a common ancestry. Although they look completely different now, there isn't much genetic difference between them.
So, in other words, if they stop taking the medicine...
The formula and
The disciples of Sanctus Medicus. Looks like when I was sorting through the prescriptions they use, I came across one called Semblance Reversion Essence. It's designed to help those disciples suppress signs of their Mara-struck forms and maintain their normal appearance. When I compared it to the medicine found in the Borson's body...
They're one and the same.
The medicinal properties and ingredients may differ, but the principle remains the same.
Since ancient times, the Borson have always sought to have more powerful bodies, regarding the Foxians as weaklings. Yet, in order to save their warhead, they were...
If these infiltrators rely on the medicine to maintain their disguise, then following this lead in our investigations... Here we are. According to the judge, this area is not yet under control, so we should proceed cautiously. I've captured the nature of the medicine in my sensor. By following the medicinal fumes, we should be able to retrace the steps of the disguised Borson.
Stream forth the gleam of old blades.
Incredible strength.
Such brute strength is not something an ordinary Borson...
If I may be so bold to ask, is this Borson...
I have lived a bit longer and engaged in a few more battles than you, Miss Lingshaw. To the Alliance, Borson have always been the most formidable. With his strength, Hule united numerous Borson packs, forming a grand army of abominations of abundance over 7 centuries ago. I followed my mentor on a campaign against the abominations. Even with medicinal pellets that suppress the fear caused by his lupitoxin, countless Cloud Knights succumbed to panic in the face of his murderous aura. They couldn't even raise a hand in resistance. If the former sword champion had, by the end of the battle, only a few of us remained. The Crimson Moon cast the sheen of blood on all.
If that's the case, why wasn't the beast executed instead? On the Xianzhou Juming, the judges cast those unforgivable and nearly immortal. Their so-called immortality is just a facade. I mean, nothing can truly defy death, can it? I just don't understand why the Luofu kept this tumor for... But I guess I understand. People of the Luofu are known for their kindness. Even when faced with a malignant tumor within the Alchemy Commission, they couldn't bring themselves to cut it out. Instead...
I understand if you hold grudges against me, Miss Lingshaw. I take the blame for the resurgence of the disciples of Sanctus Medicus.
I'm just a healer. I'm not familiar with the past. I'd appreciate...
All right. Let me tell...
Stream forth the gleam of old blades.
Did this Cloud Knight also take the medicine?
No. This is a Borson in disguise. A guard killed him before he could return to his original form.
All these Borson are dressed in official attire. Besides the Cloud Knight, there were also 2 Borson disguised as members. Whoever is providing them with official identities must hold.
someone bit open his arteries and drained almost all of his blood while he was still alive.
Despite being a long-lived species, Borisin are actually more like predatory beasts that must feed on raw blood and flesh. I've heard that It's hard to imagine how he managed to suppress his hunger for over 7 centuries. With the hostage...
Such is the terrible nature of the abominations of abundance. We subjected him to the forest of swords to drain his life force. But in the end, just like you said, Miss Lynch, casting a creature that can't be killed into a star would be a way to permanently...
The Foxians didn't agree to that.
Exactly. The atrocities committed by Hule went beyond mere massacres. Throughout numerous wars, we made every effort to eradicate the Borisin. With his mysterious sorcery turned, the Foxians curse his name day and night, and they even use it to scare children into staying quiet. How could they grant a swift death to such... I wonder if you know why Hule wasn't taken into custody by the Foxian majority Xianzhou Yaoqing, but instead imprisoned in the Xianzhou loft.
As you mentioned, your mentor was an exceptional warrior and was the one who defeated Hule, an extraordinary achievement. Therefore, the Marshal placed this feral beast under the jurisdiction of the Xianzhou loft.
It seems you have a major misunderstanding.
Incense ascends, entwined with ethereal clouds.
Yan Qing told me that an IPC ship was attacked by Borisin.
Yes. The Artisanship Commission and Alchemy Commission conducted a joint examination and found that... I heard the Intelligentsia Guild has been researching the biological properties of long-life species, hoping to make medical or combat-related discoveries. However, they...
Perhaps to those scholars, Borisin are no different from lab animals. Maybe the Boris...
No. If it were only about revenge, they could just wreck the ship and destroy all the cargo. Instead of allowing it to end, it was a deliberate display to showcase the dangerous nature of the cargo in broad daylight. This way, the cargo would end up in the shackling prison, serving as a tool for the prison...
This skill in exploiting the blind spots of others' mindsets is so atypical of them. I'm afraid the...
Watch out! Even after suffering such severe attacks?
Their imitation of long-life species has crossed the line. Allow me to purge the root of the problem. Time to cleanse the filth.
Like the shadow. There's no time to lose. Time for some hardship.
I weep for the departed. It is my fault.
You haven't answered my question about why Hule was imprisoned in the Luofu instead of the Yaoqing.
The reason why the Marshal didn't leave Hule on the Yaoqing
Are you suggesting that there are people trying to understand Hulei's secrets and... well, I understand. I've heard that the Foxians on the Yaoqing share a bloodline with the Borson. And just like the Borson, some of the Marshal believed that this would be inhumane and no different from what the Borson...
Exactly. While Borson see Moonrage as a blessing that unlocks their true potential, Foxians see it as an inevitable curse within their bloodline. Why can Borson control the power of Moonrage? Can we Foxians break free from this curse? Each questioner had good intentions. To the Foxians of the Yaoqing, Hulei was not only the warhead of the Borson, but also a monster that could be the subject of much research. Hulei thus became a poison that corrupted people's minds without their knowing.
That's why the Marshal decided to imprison Hulei and the Luofu. It wasn't an honor, but...
because such selfish pursuits in the name of good intentions once led to a tragedy on the Luofu that served as a warning to future generations.
This edition of Imbibitor Lunae. By imprisoning Hulei and the Xianzhou Luofu, the Marshal both suppressed the dangerous intentions of the Yaoqing Foxians.
That was a necessary trade-off. The Xianzhou alliance is not solely about the Xianzhou natives. Only when all three races, Foxian, Vidiador...
Thank you for enlightening me. Was it for the same reason that you traded off my mentor to the Xianzhou Zhuming, only to stand idle and allow the resurgence of the disciples of...
You said that I couldn't bear to cut out the malignant tumor within the Alchemy Commission, but instead exiled the healer who tried... But did your mentor tell you her good intentions led her to perform certain healing arts on Dun Hung, who had just finished his hatching rebirth, so that he would regain the memories of his past life?
What did you just say?
She believed that restoring the High Elder's knowledge of his past life would allow the Vidyadhara to resume their duty as the guardians of the Ambrosial Arbor. But just as I mentioned earlier, the road to catastrophe is always paved with good intentions. Since then...
if that's the case, I should thank you for...
Quite the contrary.
Thanking me.
All I ever want is to have a clear conscience. However, can long-life species truly achieve that goal in their long-drawn lives? For example, you were implicated along with your mentor, and now, with the complicated situation in the Alchemy Commission, the Alliance has spared me a lot of trouble by sending you to hell.
Your eloquence is indeed impressive. The divine foresight. He won't even... But let me make it clear. The Alliance sent me here to handle the business...
It doesn't matter which side you choose, Miss Ling Shaw. At the end of the day...
Stream 4. Gleam of old...
These Mara-struck soldiers don't...
How can you tell?
These soldiers are fully armed. Obviously, they
The
did...
messenger named Morza did say that there were two groups of attackers. The other attackers, aside from the Borison...
Hide their tracks.
Exactly. I've engaged with these attackers before, and they used Cloud Hymn magic to hide their presence.
You once warned me to be cautious of the Vidyadhara Elder's influence within the Alchemy Commission.
What's on your mind, Missling?
Well, it seems that someone provided the attackers with a map of the Shackling prison. And considering the Vidyadhara's involvement in the prisons... Additionally, the fact that the Borison need medicine to disguise themselves would suggest that there are still, moreover. Forging official identities for the undercover Borison would require someone with significant and presence of assassins capable of using Cloud Hymn magic deepens... But why would the Vidyadhara collude with the Borison and aid in Hulei's escape?
They aim to spread chaos. They believe that since this edition of Imbibe de Lune, the once proud dragon race has been powerless, watching their influence wane. Being a native of the Luofu, Miss Ling Sha, I believe.
However, I don't think the preceptors are the true masterminds. If I'm not mistaken, the one behind all this treachery is the Lord Ravager who exploited the weaknesses within the Luofu and instigated the disciples of Sanctus Medicus, ultimately leading to the Ambrosial Arbor's resurrection.
Please remember, General, that everything I've mentioned is mere speculation. We need concrete evidence for a public trial.
So, what's your...
I'll send an invitation to the... The preceptors have been inviting me for a personal meeting since my arrival on the Luofu. Now, I'll send them the remains of these Mara-struck soldiers and the route map I found in the prisoner's possession. Then, I'll ask them to meet me. I'd like to hear their explanations.
Good idea. If I were to take action, it might alert the true mastermind. I trust you to handle this matter, Miss Ling Sha. And don't worry if things don't go smoothly. Once the wolf hunt operation is over...
Speaking of the wolf hunt operation, I'm truly worried about the Yaoqing messenger who was taken hostage. Hulei was starving in the Shackling prison for centuries. May Rainbow's blessing keep him safe.
As I said, I'm a healer. But my art of healing requires the culinary arts to be true. The magic of my cauldron is its ability to make all kinds of medicines into dishes that patients can eat. When simmered and cooked...
Delicacy. But isn't...
Well, you have a point. Let me ask you this. If there's a fussy child who refuses to eat...
Stuff the kid's mouth with the green peppers and...
You have quite the sense of humor. I've heard that you, Borison, have lost many of your taste buds during the self-modification process. So you can't experience
It's a shame I don't have any green peppers right now. Otherwise, I'd happily stuff them into your mouth.
I'm just kidding. The answer is quite simple.
Can I just boil your tongue in this hot pot? I know you're trying to buy time, and you said that Jin Liu recently returned to the Luofu, right? Well, she did come back. Do you really think you can delay our departure by provoking the... You see Borison as savages who know nothing about the Xianzhou. The more hope you hold in your heart, the greater your pain will be when death...
His composure is only a temporary effect of the medicine.
Lord Hulei.
Oh, you pathetic Foxians. For thousands of years, we were the ones who allowed you to live. But it's all right. As long as you catch the scent of your masters, you obediently return to us.
Hule, have you ever wondered? The Borison's era has long passed. Did they ever tell you these harsh facts before giving you hope for it? Now they're being crushed by the Merlin's claw of the Yao Qing, by a Foxian. They're hiding in remote corners of the cosmos, trembling with fear like a wounded beast on its last legs, reaching out desperately.
The Merlin's claw of the Yao Qing. A Foxian.
He isn't lying. That lowly beast was a war slave who ran away from our pack. Cannon fodder, a thief. She stole our power and used her knowledge about us.
And she bested you, Moktok. Fairness is but a pathetic excuse for the dead and defeated.
In our darkest hours, it was a prophet of the Master of Immortality.
This prophet, Monk.
The prophet made this proclamation. The Borison have been divided for too long, and only your return can unite all the packs, restoring us to our former glory. And the prophet told us that the Foxian general of the Yao Qing would take you to her ship.
That so-called prophet lied to all of you.
But her prophecy has come true.
Once the news about the prison break spreads, the Cloud Knights will close all the ports. You may think you've escaped the
Let me kill this unruly, lowly beast, Lord Hule! Right now, everyone in the Luofu is distracted by this stupid war dance. So this will be the perfect chance to escape.
Perfect chance? To return to my weak and shattered pack at the mercy of a ridiculous false prophet and become a mere puppet in her clutches. Listen up. A wolf never allows itself to become prey. Since you are so confident that the Cloud Knights will close the ports, Jouch.
Wait, what?
But my lord!
Would an alpha wolf ever listen to a cub, Mock?
No, I've never heard anything like that.
I'm offering you a once-in-a-lifetime. You will come back. Because Foxians like you... Oh.
Healer.